everybody. It's Casey with Pinecase. Happy Tuesday afternoon or evening or wherever you are in the world. Tonight, I am joined with Ryan Parker, aka Novel. Listen, I have been waiting. I don't know how many times that we've rescheduled this, but
Yeah.
man. And then I don't know what was going on, but I was like ass deep in the debate tonight, and I was like just chilling. I'm like, yeah, it's a quiet Tuesday. I don't know what's going on. Calico's like, you ready? I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Now that she was back, I wasn't too sure if I was going to have you or Calico. But
Yeah. So Calico is she does all of our programming for us. She's
oh,
yeah, shout out to Calico Hunt. She's out there literally on the hunt all the time. She's like finding everybody to come and chat with me, and then usually you'll catch me on the live stream.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, what is going on? If you don't mind, because I've had the time to be able to kind of check you out a little bit, but there's a piece of the story that I didn't really highlight in some of the wording that I put out there, and I was hoping that maybe you could run through like maybe a mini testimonial for everybody this evening.
As far as the music goes or the recovery.
It's up to you. I mean, this is definitely like a platform where we got a lot of like young kids coming up. A lot of them actually in the area that you're at. We run a hotline 24 hours. It's ran by volunteers. And I
Nice.
would say, yeah, and I would say like 90% of the calls that we take are like, young males from like 16 to like 28. And so it's a great space to like give them a story that they can maybe identify with, but also understand that they can be in that position and also be successful and come out the other side, and they can, have heartache and heartbreak and all that stuff. But there's, maybe not necessarily a silver lining, but with a little tenacity, you can be,
Yeah.
a decent
Yeah. I
human
mean,
being.
for me, I've been doing the music thing for like 25 years now. So I started it in 1999. Basically, me and three friends, Trevor, Danny, and Nathan. Um, and we called ourselves the Island Childsmen back then. And there was one other group that we found doing similar thing in Duncan here called the 49th Parallel
Okay.
shortly thereafter. And so Danny met them just randomly at a gas station, I think, and started chopping it up. And we decided to form our groups into like kind of a super group and called ourselves Authorized Personnel
Oh,
around 2000, 2001. And so, yeah, we had like 9 members, right? Um, so it, no matter who could make it to the show, right? Because
you
it
guys
was,
had a full on crew.
yeah, it was pretty rare that everybody could make it to any given show.
Right.
But yeah, we could always put something together and rock the stage for sure. We did like lots of monthly shows in our hometown at the Bay Pub. MC battles we hosted and b-boy battles. Had some dancers out in
Yeah.
Nanaimo for the CHLY radio station out there, Malaspina Campus
Wow.
Radio. So yeah, all through the 2000s, 2000 to 2010, basically we had lots of like monthly gigs going on, and got to travel a little bit, like just Victoria, mostly on the island, but we had a few shows in Vancouver as well, so that was dope. um yeah, I had the studio in my house and it was in the garage, so everybody from the crew had a key to my garage. It's like, just go record whenever you want, right?
Oh,
um
that's amazing. Like I wish, you know what, I see that once in a while now, but it's not like it used to be, right? Because we could, when you had a crew, that's your family. And it's still like that. But I don't know if I'm so quick to like hand out keys maybe as I was like, in the early 2000s.
yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, it was cool because there was like 3 of us that really fucked with making beats
Hmm.
and did like the mixing and mastering too. So we had a variety of different flavors to choose from as far as the beat selection went. That was dope. And then around 2010, I guess, you know people started having families, getting married, and doing all that fun stuff. So, life came into play, and we went our separate ways a little bit. One of the guys got deported back to the
Oh,
States. Uh, you know, a few of the guys moved to Vancouver, so it wasn't really logistically um, convenient for us to just, you know, keep coming to Ryan's garage and making music.
Right, right,
Um,
right. And that's
yeah.
wild. Like, people getting deported. Like, what? Like, what?
Yeah. Well, he was an American. I'm talking about my homie. I don't know, Myron. So yeah, he was from the States and he was here illegally. So he tried to be here, you know, as much as he could. And
Right.
yeah, I guess he overstood his stayed his welcome with the,
Mm.
you know, laws of Canada or what have you. And but yeah, he's here now and he's super stoked because he's here legally now. So
Congratulations on your
yeah,
citizenship, homie.
no doubt. Yeah, it's good to have him here for sure. Yeah. So there's only like a handful of us that are still really making the music. I mean, you know, one guy's a DJ now doing like house music and house parties. Yoshi,
Mm.
what's up? And then yeah, me and Shaps. Shaps is still doing his thing with my buddy Trevor. Trevor worked with me at the day job for like 13 years, and then he moved up to Courtney. So we still work together, you
Mhm.
know, on projects that aren't music related, and as well as ones that are music related. So they came out with an album or two called Warm Land. You should check that
Okay.
out on YouTube. They got a few videos. Yeah, Warm Land 1 and 2, I think they're called. I think they got two albums now. And yeah, so I just kept doing my solo thing, really just making songs. You know, I wasn't trying to go perform or anything. It's kind of hard when you're just the focus as one man on stage. You know, it was nice when we had like a band up there because it gives the crowd other things to look at, and just the ambience is, you know, a lot doper, I feel.
Yeah,
But
what happens when you go from like a big family to being independent? I mean, that shift must be that must be intimidating, I would imagine, right?
yeah,
Like,
it's, I mean, I always did music just for me, really, right? It's kind of like my therapy, right? That's how I get out my stress and write about it, right? Like in recovery, you're taught to, you know, write something, maybe burn that note after, or, you know, dig a hole, yell into it, whatever. You know.
yeah,
So for me,
yeah,
it's
burn
just right.
after reading.
Yeah, for me, it's just putting that into my music, right? So, um, you know, I never really tried to make like club bangers or things like that. It's more a lot of heartfelt shit. But there's obviously, yeah, lots of fun songs too because I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. I mean, right? Um,
I
and
think
then
people lose like the that like when we talk about like hip hop culture in general, right? And I mean, obviously, like there's it's such a wide variety of personnels and personalities and all that good stuff when we talk about it. But I think the thing that gets overlooked a lot of the time, because when you think of like the culture, we're like, yeah, chains and cars and like all this stuff, like the really sentimental pieces that come with it, because um men in particular, you guys hold this really special thing that happens with your emotions where you guys kind of hold it in a little bit, which that I mean, we can talk about that for the next, 3 hours, but the point that I'm trying to make
yeah,
is that it comes
totally.
out in really beautiful ways, artistically a lot of the times, right? Whereas, and I'm not going to talk ill about any female artists because these girls are out here like doing it for real. But there's something to be said about male, forward hip hop, like ciphers and like more of the intellectual pieces that come along with it. You guys hold the stage when it comes to that stuff.
No, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you solo, it's a lot harder to motivate yourself, I guess. I think a lot of people would find that, you know,
Mhm.
when you got the crew around, everybody's vibing, right? And throwing different ideas back and forth, concepts for the song or what have you. Um, but yeah, I mean, as long as it's real, you know, that's when the music sounds the best, right? I mean, I'm not one for jewelry, like you mentioned, chains and shit like that. Like, I don't wear chains. I buy real estate, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck your chain. Shit. Anything I'm wearing has been given to me by somebody. I don't know.
Aw,
I don't
yeah.
really go buy jewelry, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but
so
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I mean, but
So,
that's real people stuff, right? And I guess like, again, I'm not trying to talk ill about anyone in particular, but like, I shout out to you and men like you when you guys aren't worried about like those type of things. That means that you're coming through like strong on other kind of fundamentals and foundation building pieces. So
for
I'm here
sure.
for
Yeah,
that.
thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So I guess it was like 2015 or something. I started to do shows again, solo, and
Mhm.
yeah, I hooked up with a few different people like Campbell. One, me and him did a few shows together, and then what was it, 2021? I think is when I went out to Alberta, and that's when I met Wes Paul.
Yeah, shout out to West Paul. He's up in the comment section
Yeah, yeah, nice.
right
Yeah, so I headlined this show in Edmonton actually at the Rendezvous, and ended up meeting Wes there, and we hit it off pretty good. And I checked out some of his music; it was dope, and he felt the same. So I ended up like kidnapping him and bringing him home with me. We
now.
had our little bromance, and yeah, it didn't take us long. Like we made an album within 6 months,
Oh, wow.
and that's where this Twins album came out. Here is the
Mm.
CD. There you go, Twins. So yeah, it's pretty dope. I'm pretty proud of that album. There's like 17 songs on it. Um,
So you should be. You know what? After I talked with him the other day, I understand why you fell in love with him for sure. You know what I mean? Why you guys like hit it off because after our chat, I was like, listen, like you're stuck with me now, like you know that, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
and he was like, you got to check this album out. He like sent it to me. And he's like, you need to check this out. This is really important to me. So obviously, it was a big project for the both of you guys because you guys both come
yeah,
with the same energy. Yeah, he was like, this is you got to check this out.
yeah. Totally. It was like a lot of it was almost experimental, with new type of genre, almost like uh, we tested ourselves and our capabilities as far as like singing goes and things like that. Like we're used to just mostly rapping, and I mean I've always mixed the singing with the rapping a little bit, but that was like a whole
Mhm.
different type of singing. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I hit some new notes, I guess, right on that one. It was cool.
It's deadly though, like, I was playing it the other day, we were cruising around because he sent it to me, and he when he sent it to me, he said some serious stuff, like, you know what I mean? It was an intimate conversation, and he was like, not to, like, toot my own horn, but I don't wanna say exactly what he said, because it's personal, but it goes down in, Canadian West Coast, you know, quality album
Yeah,
collection stuff. And I was like, man, what are you talking about? Like that's a serious statement. And you know what? Just as quick as he sent it to me, we put it on and it's been on my stereo in the car ever since. Like it's
nice.
yeah, because it's nice. Like the you feel like as a consumer, I felt like a part of like what you guys are trying to accomplish there. And I feel like that because it's not something you listen to every day, right? You don't hear this stuff all the time. And so when you get to hear a piece of artwork like that, it feels like was it like not prohibition? Yeah, maybe prohibition. Like you feel like you got like a little piece of like something that not everybody has. So yeah, you guys set
So
that up well.
dope, dope. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's songs on there because we were partying at the time pretty hard, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know as we'd ever be able to hit that one off at a live show properly if we've changed our ways up. So
Right.
there's that too. It's like everybody grows with their music too, right? And hopefully the fans are growing as well. Um, so yeah, music changes over the years, like compared to what we were making 20 years ago. It's a lot different now.
Yeah. Do you find like because you're in a different stage in life and like you're prioritizing different things that well, I guess it must be the same for the music piece too, right? Like cuz yeah, exactly what you're saying like as you prioritize different things in maybe your party favors or your not party favors, that's going to look it's going to represent a bit differently. I never really think about things like that because I just assume people kind of come out with like a personality and like that's what it is. And obviously like your emotions change a little bit, but
Yeah.
um yeah, what are the kind of things that affect your music?
Well, everything that happens in my life, really, right? Yeah, I've I don't know if lucky is the word, lucky enough to have some horrible relationships with toxic people that, you know, so that made it easy to write. You know, they say that writer's block only happens when your life is going smoothly. And, you know, I've always had so much going on in my life with like managing a business with 5 employees. And, um, you know, at the time I owned 2 homes, so I was a landlord and doing that shit, and then also the music too, right? So it's like free time wasn't something I really had, and you know, rocking it.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, life's been awesome. I mean, very interesting, you know. So there's always stories to tell, and you know, good and bad, of
Yeah.
course. Right? So, yeah.
What do you mean? No, I listen. That's character building stuff, though, right? Like you got to go through some things in order
Yeah.
to like have those stories, right? Like no one, what is the? I mean, there's a million different sayings, but the one that always I think maybe the old folk always say is like no good story ever started with a salad, glass of water, this
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
or whatever, right? Like you gotta put yourself out there a little bit. So
Yeah. I find like the most solid people, you know, the best people have been through hell, right? Like they've they've had some dark days, and it just makes them that much stronger and wiser too, right? Hopefully you learn from those things and change your ways up. But yeah, if you haven't been through anything, you know, what kind of experience do you really have with life? Uh,
I actually uh I actually have had conversations with people lately that have never lost anybody.
oh yeah.
Like yeah, I mean, other than like grandparents. I didn't
Right.
know that. Like I grew up like right around where you're at right now, right? So and you know what happens around those areas. It's beautiful there, but there's a ton of heartache in that on that island, right?
Oh yeah.
And I just assumed that everybody had gone through that. And then I came out to Alberta and people out here are worried about, cows and canola and stuff. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, I've never lost anybody but my grandparents. I'm like, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like I guess the last 10 years maybe that you know, I started to lose lots and lots of people, right? So, you know, I put out 10 music videos in the last 7 years, and I've got 6 albums in the last like 8 years or so too. And like the one video I did called Adrenaline Junkie was about fentanyl
Yeah.
that took a lot of our friends. So that was a crazy song to make. You know, in the making of it, I went and sat down with a few of my dead friends' parents just to ask permission to use their name in the video, right? And
Yeah.
um, yeah, so that was an eye opener, but it was good to sit down with them because obviously I knew them too, right? The parents, and felt horrible that they had to lose a child, you know, due to substance abuse. And most of them were really, really supportive of that. And they said they loved the idea of getting the word out there that, you know, um, shit happens like that if you get too deep into the wrong stuff, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, we know that well over here. It's actually why I started this company, to be honest. Like Pine Box, you know what I mean? Pine Case, Pine Casket, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? Is the only thing that really I think
Mhm.
the government will flip the bill for at the end of the day. And yeah, that and maybe your pine needle gland. But I I understand that a little bit, like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
So, what was it? Just after COVID, you know, I started meeting people like Obi and this girl Sarah, and really talented people with great voices, right? And you know, I was not in a good spot at the time, doing lots of blow, drinking,
Mhm.
and so I realized, you know, if I'm gonna get to where I want to get with anything, as well as like my relationships were, you know, not going in the right direction and missing work and all the rest of it, right? So
Mhm.
that's when I decided myself. I mean, obviously, my parents and a few friends had been telling me for years, like, you know, you need to stop that shit and
Yeah.
smarten up, get your shit together. But
Yeah.
nobody else can change anybody, right? No matter how, if even if they're your mom or dad, right? And asking you, because I didn't really hide shit. You know, I was pretty honest with my family. I mean, I grew weed in my closet when I was 14 years old growing up. Like my parents have seen some shit, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, eventually, you know, I found I needed to do that for me. I made that decision, right? So I ended up going to Cedars here in Cobble Hill. Great facility. Can't say enough nice things about it. Um, yeah, and I spent 50 days there sober, and it was great. And then I got let out the same day as this girl that I, got along with quite well in there. So
Hmm.
I started dating her after Cedars, and then like 6 months into dating, she went home for Christmas to her parents' house in Ontario, and she was in a fatal car accident. So that was like the closest death that I've ever experienced. It was pretty hard.
Sorry for
And
your loss.
yeah, it was, you know, I didn't stay sober. So,
Well, how the hell can you? I mean, first of all, when you meet somebody in a recovery setting, I don't know what happens at day 3 when you're in like a detox setting or recovery, or whatever. People wild out, right? And your emotions are all over the place. And so when you meet people, and I don't mean this in a dismissive way, those those are your fucking people, man. Like
mhm,
you guys
yeah,
are in there, you know what I mean, exposed in your weird, in your love, in your, your happiness, your set, like in not in the same way that maybe like your crew on the outside or your, because no one sees you like people see you when you're in there.
yeah,
Even if you
totally.
put, spray your clone a little bit and try and like put yourself out there a certain way,
Yeah.
that's like other, that's next level stuff, right? And so when you make those connections, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy,
Mhm.
sitting in a circle of 70 people and opening up yourself, right? And like, my family, uh, they wouldn't ever do that, you know. So that's kind of like where I'm from is like my dad's a thinker, not a feeler, right? So he'll talk with his brain, and I follow in his footsteps too, right? So it's hard for
Right.
me to open up to people unless I have that bond and that trust and experience with them, knowing that they can be trusted. Just because you know I have experience with people that I wasn't able to trust so much in the past. It's hard to open up to people, and especially strangers when you don't know them, right? Because that's like the program,
Yeah.
right? That they introduce you to in there, and it's pretty wild, right? So it took me a
Yeah.
while to you know not speak from my brain and start speaking from my heart. You know.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's commendable. I made a promise to someone that I really care about. They were like, if you're really serious about this, then you'll go to a meeting. And I was like, you got to be out of your mind, right? And they're like, okay, well, if it's not about you, then like do it for, you can't have a hotline if you don't know where these people are coming from, like for real. Like you need to go. I have never white knuckled any, and I've put myself through
Yeah.
some shit. I
Yeah.
have never ever white knuckled something so hard as an actual like meeting like that,
Yeah.
because even when you think you understand, like I know what's coming next. You know what I mean? We all know what is about to be said. We all know the serenity prayer, whether you've been there or somebody in your family or your friends. Like it's been the same way for so long. But people that go and then go again and then go again and go again and do it one day at a time, like uh I don't know. That's I have so much respect for that because yeah, like you said, we grew up in a situation where everybody is taught to like, not air your dirty laundry. It's nobody's business. And then you got to sit in this like circle of
Mhm.
people and kick it like that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It was
yeah.
it was an eye opener. It was definitely a learning experience, and yeah, break out of that shell that you've worn your whole life.
Yeah. So what if you don't mind me asking, and you don't have to answer any of this if you don't want to, but obviously like losing this person to you, I mean, I can understand why that would, why you would relapse or whatever. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But what happened after that? Like, what um, what made you want to maybe come through it for yourself? Or
Uh, well, a lot of it is owning a business, right? So, I have a lot of responsibility. Other people depend on me for their own well-being and their families too, right? Because I'm signing paychecks, so
Yeah.
um, I got to be there to lead the crew, right? Or else that ship's gonna sink. So, um, and just right this last month, I'm in the process of moving the company because um, the house sold that we had the business in for like over a decade. So um, there's a lot involved in moving a business. It's like, damn. I had Telus show up there yesterday because we don't have phones right now, and I guess they don't have the fiber optics ran to that building yet, that part of town. So
Uh,
now I got to get Shaw. Luckily, they're coming tomorrow. So
yeah.
yeah, it's like yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot.
You know what? I was like, like it's like a big deal. You know what is a absolute blessing? When that is when that's like some shit in your day, you know that you're living good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, cause
yeah, right. Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like life is good, man. Like
yeah.
that's
I
yeah.
only have to put out minor fires, I guess you would say, right? And
Yeah.
in my line of work, it's like mostly just calming down the customers, right? It's the
Right.
people, right?
Yeah.
That, need the most attention or, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Hmm. Well, I can now I'm starting to understand like where the music is coming from a little bit because like yeah, I mean, you grew up in a blue collar household with some old school rules and mentality. But the experiences that you have are a little bit different than the people that are teaching you to be like that. Then where else are you going to put it, right? Like I can imagine music being
Yeah, totally.
pretty
I mean,
instrumental in a few different ways. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like my dad, he's like a genius. He kind of pioneered the whole wastewater industry in British
Oh wow.
Columbia. He started the association, British Columbia On-Site Sewage Association, that formed the curriculum for people to go through and get trained and become planners, installers, maintenance providers. And so the premier at the time was Campbell, and he got a letter from Premier Campbell thanking him for starting this movement, or training, classification, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, he's a household name. He's brought products into BC that now are being sold at all the big pipe stores too. So, um, yeah, I get to travel to lots of nice places. We've put in wastewater systems for schools, airports, wineries, fishing resorts, all sorts of awesome clients. That yeah,
Very cool.
I normally wouldn't travel to half of these islands, right, unless it wasn't for my work. Because
Yeah.
yeah, so that's really dope.
Oh, that's amazing. Listen, I'm a BC girl. I'm an island girl. So like that's all important to me. The water is so important to me. Like
Yeah,
anyone that's in that industry that takes initiative to like respect what's going on. I'm also an avid fisherwoman. So,
nice.
I'm
Yeah.
like if you're out there, doing the Lord's work, like not that I'm a very religious person, but if you're out there
Yeah,
doing the Lord's work, in my opinion, like it's mad commendable for sure.
totally.
That's really
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, the essence of it is saving the environment, right? Because
Hmm.
stopping pollution. Or it's a young industry still to this day. So there's new things coming out all the time. But yeah, I got a freezer full of fish right now too. We went like 3 weeks ago. It was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll trade you for some beef. I've been feeding
yeah.
cows out here, man. I'll like mad trade you for some beef for sure.
Hey, let's do it. Alberta beef's the shit. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I got
yeah,
some beautiful cows. Yeah, we got some beautiful cows, but I'm like ready for some salmon for sure.
yeah, yeah. I got some salmon, lots of halibut too. Yeah,
Oh, that's on
yeah,
my bucket list. I've never actually slayed. Like I've been trying to land a halibut. Probably,
yeah,
I mean, it's on everybody. Anyone that's
yeah.
out there, like is trying to land one of those. But I can jig like I'm not saying I'm the best, but I'm pretty.
Yeah.
When it comes to chicks, I can hold my own for sure. But yeah,
Nice,
Cali fishing is
nice,
some next level stuff. So that's really cool.
sweet. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, very very cool. Oh man, you're making me miss home. Like I've been out.
Yeah,
I love Alberta. It's beautiful in its own ways, but there's
yeah, yeah. I had a boat for a few years, but I didn't really get out and use it too much. So when I was doing installing that system for Telegraph Cove fishing resort, beautiful place. If you haven't been there, you got to check it out. Um, the machine operator says, like, I need to buy a boat. So I ended up selling him mine. I got a couple of kayaks now, and I take those out to Couch and Bay and put the crab trap out. It's fucking
Ooh.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is fucking awesome.
yeah,
Um, I got my boating, like I got my captain's license and all of that, like did the whole thing and bought a boat. It was like a, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called. You know, the old inline six motor, so I could pull wrenches on it. Cause I was like, you know, like
nice.
outboards are like, I don't understand or whatever. The old
Yeah,
Chevy engine, we could do this, no problem. And then once I like started learning the laws, like they take your boat, your trailer, your deep freeze, your truck, like
mm,
I was like, I can't even have a beer. I can't, you know what I mean?
mm,
Yeah, the boat went, the the trailer went, the
yeah.
everything but the truck and the deep freeze. I was like, no, man, this is
Shit. And actually, the first time I put that boat in the water, I had my friend Michelle and I think it was Steve with me. And I'm like, well, there's not going to be cops out on a Sunday, is there? And they're like, oh, no. Sure enough,
yeah,
we're just drinking our faces off, getting
yeah,
loaded, and we get
yeah,
pulled over.
yeah.
So Michelle just pulled her bathing suit down a little bit more, you know, hoping
That
the
girl.
hottie on the boat would get us off with a warning, right? And yeah, it was pretty good. Like there was beer cans all over the place, but they didn't charge us with anything. They just gave me a little write up that I need to get a fire extinguisher that's not expired.
Shut.
Yeah, yeah. So score. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah,
Yeah, shout out to Michelle, like for
totally.
holding it down. That's so
Yeah,
funny. I mean, I guess they can like they can choose, right? If they want to be like
yeah, yeah. I
hardcore
guess
about
they
it,
were
they
both in a
can.
good mood that day.
Very cool.
Yeah, shit.
Fisheries too, like those dudes do not play, or I shouldn't say dudes. I mean, whatever, male, female, people, workers,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it, officers, I guess. Um, they see how like this is what 2024 has done to me. I'm like, I feel like I can't say nothing anymore. Like,
right.
oh man, yeah, like cancel
Yeah,
culture is like intense. But yeah, anyway, the fisheries, man, like those they scare me more than the popo, and that's saying
shit.
something.
Yeah, yeah. We've had lots of experience with them.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
Yeah, so I just kind of finished a little tour. I was tour support for Mo Dirt and
mm,
Deshaun Jackson. So that was cool. I did a show in Calgary, one in Kelowna, and then one in Vancouver here, which was the last show of their tour. So shout out to Mo Dirt and Deshaun Jackson. They're doing their thing.
absolutely.
Yeah, it was lots of fun. We met lots of talented artists at all those shows, so it was dope.
Yeah, very cool. What do you got coming up? What do you got coming up next? Like, is there something that's gonna kind of like lean off of that, or like you're wrapped up that situation and
Well, I won't be doing any shows for a little while. Um, I do have a few songs that I'm going to start putting out with Wes Paul. Actually,
mm,
we got a couple in the vault here, and need to finish up a couple more that I got with him, and then yeah, we'll probably put out an album closer to middle of next year or the beginning of the year. Um, just yeah, with the business, I'm kind of trying to focus on that right now because it needs a lot of attention with the move. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm always making music, always writing to beats for sure.
very
So
cool.
yeah, look out for that. We'll be posting a song probably here within the next month, for sure.
Very cool. What other kind of things inspire you other than like life experiences? You talked a little bit about maybe like doing, putting out a couple of like, club hits or something that's a little bit easier listening to. But is there anything else that like kind of pushes you into the studio or like things that happen where you're like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and take the time for myself today?
Um, I think like it's my addiction, you know. Lots of people go start working out, exercising, or what have you. Music, I'm definitely addicted to it. Like it's in my blood. It's I'm never gonna stop. Um, Making beats, listening to beats, writing, recording, but there's a lot involved when you do it all yourself, right? Which I have been doing for, couple decades.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna start trying to record at different studios now. Um, so and let them do the mixing and mastering. So I've
Oh,
asked
wow.
a couple buddies where they're recording, and um, so they've been doing it down in Victoria at a couple places. So yeah, I'm gonna go give that a whirl and see what that pans out like. I've only really recorded it a couple of places before with the group back in the day. There's one place in Maple Bay that I don't know if they're around anymore. Is Woodshop Studios, and then with Teus down in Nanaimo. Yeah, he does some good recording too and mixing and mastering.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I never really thought about like the recording studio. I mean, it's like a, it's like a different, not to compared to like Scotch, but I was like, as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, I guess it's like different in every glen or like, every place that you go to's got its own like little bit of flavor, a little bit of like,
hmm,
history or lineage that makes you feel a certain way, like right down to the, just the atmosphere and obviously the people that work in it. Like,
yeah, yeah,
so yeah, that's really cool to go and kind of check it out and see what they're up to and how that affects like what you've already done, right?
totally, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's an improvement, sometimes I feel it's not, but everybody's ears are different too, right? So
Mm.
what sounds good to some might not to others. Um, and I've kind of got into my niche where I like this, so I have these same effects on it, but um, I need to spend more time for it to be really, you hear every word for the average listener. Uh,
Right.
so, so I think, yeah, going to a different studio will bring in that different flavor for sure.
Hmm. That's really, really, yeah, that's really interesting. I grew up in a studio environment, but yeah, it was always the same space, right? Like it's just like the garage, right? It becomes home and then why would you ever yeah, why would you ever change that? Well, I'm really excited to hear and experience like what that's gonna look like for you. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah.
yeah. I wanted to take the time real quick because there's this really sweet message up here that Wes said, and he said, the kids say hi, Uncle Ryan. They're really proud of you.
Awesome. Hey, kids. Yeah, we'll get together soon, I'm sure, for sure.
Man, isn't that a blessing? Like, the older I get, and I have my own kids and all that stuff. So I don't, but isn't it a blessing when when you have these friends in your life, and then you get to watch like their kids come up, and everyone get their own little personalities, and
Oh,
like,
totally. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. And yeah, most of the people that have kids that are nothing like them, right? One of them's gothic, one of them likes heavy metal or whatever, right? It's like, but they're always still proud to say my dad was a rapper, right? So that's dope. Yeah.
that's awesome. You're like, whose kid is that?
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, now it's like, whose dad is that? Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Right on. Very cool. So what's on the docket next? Like you're talking about like new studio time, maybe a couple cuts coming out. You got this project with West Paul. We're gonna like look forward to that in the next little bit. We'll make sure that we keep the links coming and everybody knows what's happening there. But is there anything other than like you know what, as I'm saying all this is there anything else other than all of that and changing work
Right.
locations and like,
Oh,
like
there's always more. There's always more that will fit in. Um, you know, I hope to go traveling somewhere again this winter. I was in Costa Rica in March. That was dope. Um, but yeah, yeah, I was just looking at the albums I got here because I just put this one out in March of 2024. That was the vulnerable one. Um, that one's a lot different, kind of dark, but talks about recovery and self strength to break out of addiction. Yeah, so a lot of these songs are when I was back in it, and some of the songs are when I was back out of it, right? And the
oh
death
wow.
of my ex. So yeah, there's some pretty heartfelt songs on that album. It's available on all platforms too right now. Yeah. So
Um,
all different flavors on these albums, like this one here too. That one was all a lot of slower, like almost love songs. This was probably my favorite album though. Novel Options. Lots of bangers on there with Brian Bagshaw. I was on a few of those tracks from Tangible 2. That's his group. He's up in Nanaimo. And he actually worked with me too at the day job for a little bit. And that's when I finally got him in the studio. And I guess he's never made any songs with anybody except for his Tangible 2 partner, Aaron Wheat, right?
Whoa.
So
Okay.
it was pretty exciting for, for him to be able to make songs with other people. And yeah, we almost formed a group. I've got about 8 songs with me, him, Shaps, and Abyss, 4 guys. So I put out 1 or 2 of the songs here and there, but I'll definitely get a hold of them and see how they feel about me putting out a few more of those tracks that we
Yeah.
got. It's no sense holding on to this music, right? When
Nope.
it's 99% done. Like, let's just get it out there,
Just get it
right?
out there.
Yeah.
Can you go back because you got those handy? Can we talk about the artwork? Because as much as I mean, music is super important and it's therapeutic and it's actually really good because
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
some of this. But can we talk about like what? Because your albums specifically are really like simple and clean, and I really like them. But like, what inspired? Yeah, just the color of that. Like, why did? Yeah. I mean, that's like that was deadly. They
That was
still
me taking
portrait.
pictures
Yeah.
of myself in my bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Myron just finished painting my house, and it's like this awesome raspberry truffle. If you ever
All
find that
right.
color when you're
Mhm.
painting, I recommend it because that
Raspberry
thing
truffle, okay.
looks dope. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Perfect
Yeah.
accent wall.
And then this
Yeah.
one, yeah, it's got like some broken glass on there and a
Mm.
bottle spilt, right? So hard on my sleeve because just letting it all out on this album, right? And it's being vulnerable. That's track number 1 on here.
Yeah. I like
And
how they're like mono, and then have like the hints of color, right? Because just from like the contrast, it's really intriguing and interesting to look at. For
thanks,
sure.
yeah. Yeah, played around with a few different pictures with that one, but yeah, that one worked out good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Very
So
cool.
what are you up to this summer? Anything? Summer's pretty much over now, but
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So well, we kicked off so this summer, what did we do? We did Death Night Metal Fest. We got DJ Lion up on the stage over there. We did Harm
nice.
Reduction. Yeah. So that was fun. We we got him out here and we did
He's super young, hey?
10 years old, man.
Oh
Like
my
what?
God. Yeah, I saw a
Yeah.
little video of him. I'm like, who's this guy just ripping it?
Right.
Damn. Skills.
Yeah. No, we so originally when I came out with this, I was like, I want to do a bursary and a scholarship program, right? And we've been doing it, but the bursary is for like, the youth who want to use music as like a way of therapy alternative to like the solutions that they already have. And so, through the application process, his application came up and I was like, absolutely, whatever it is that he's doing, like that's the bursary is his. And then once I was like, this bursary does not mean anything to this kid. Like he didn't need you know what I mean? Like, sure, that was a great, gesture, but he was
Yeah.
already like well on his way doing festivals and shit. I don't know why I try to hang my hat on that. The kid don't need that. Right?
Nice.
He's all good. So
Yeah.
so now it's like I'm honored to be a part of his journey. And I will happily wait in line for his tickets. Yeah, and then what else did we do? We did a couple of block parties to raise awareness. One out in Alberta, one in BC, which is really
Yeah.
important. One was during Men's Mental Health Month. Actually, they both were. Men's Mental Health Month. We ran a massive campaign and just really pushed for awareness and to give men a space to like talk about what they want to or not talk about what they don't want to, but to know that and no shade on Pride because we love everybody, but they don't necessarily have to share that month with us over here. So yeah, we pushed pretty hard for that. And then
Nice.
yeah. And, yeah. We're
Yeah.
blue, yeah, we're blue collar all the way over here. And it's not like that
Yeah.
because we love everybody. But I was like, why is TD not picking this up? Like, why is, these big conglomerates not picking this up, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a big initiative for us this year. And yeah, the other day I went on a double date with my grandparents and went and watched Caleb Hart at Cocktails and Jerk Fest. So that was really nice. It was
Sweet.
yeah, so it's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of a nice way to wrap up the summer and,
So
you know,
wicked.
yeah, just living life, man. I'm getting older, right? So I'm like stoked about
Yeah.
like having like a smoker and like whatever else
Yeah.
that comes with that, right? Like that's
Oh,
the
totally.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
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 I
We're well
love
in,
food.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're
good.
sitting deep in our like our recipes and whatever else that means, making sure the speakers go loud. So
Yeah.
it's permanently barbecue season in my life. Wes
Hell
says, yeah, Wes says, hit up the twins for next year. Let's make it happen. Yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah.
yes. That's okay. So this is the thing. So Wes was like talking about all sorts of cool stuff, and we were talking about you know, trying to get the word out there, especially for the blue collar workers. And I think that like your guys's music specifically like lends a great ear to all of that and a great space and an arm on knowledge branch and all of that. And so anything that I can do, any way that we can help promote or push, like let us like we're here for you guys. I have no problem throwing up links or sharing or whatever because
Awesome. Yeah. We'll definitely get a hold of you for sure.
mhm.
Hell yeah.
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 All right, darling. Well, I won't keep you anymore, but I really do appreciate your time.
Yeah, it was good to finally get on here. I know we had our conflicting schedules for so long, but nice to
That's
finally meet you.
yeah, it's nice to finally meet you too. But that's business, right? And you know what? The first time we rescheduled, I was like, I'm down
Yeah.
for people who prioritize life because it's super important. And yeah,
Yeah.
made it
Yeah.
happen.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, for everybody out there that's out there, like we were talking about earlier, and we didn't get too much into it, but we understand what's happening over there, especially with the fentanyl crisis. So you guys, please stay safe out there. If anybody needs naloxone kits, you can hit up Calico or myself at our hotline. We'll throw up a picture afterwards. We do live demonstrations. That's no problem. We got kits on hand. She's got kits on hand. We'll throw them at your doorstep or anywhere you need them. Yeah, don't be afraid to call 911. I'm pushing it really hard right now, you guys. There is the Good Samaritan Act. It will keep you away from any criminal charges. It's not a big deal. Just call, make the call, right? It's the buddy system for a reason. And obviously it wasn't your intention when you started it that day. So let's keep the funeral business. I mean, they're making enough money. So yeah.
No
You guys
doubt.
can go. Yeah,
Stay
absolutely.
safe out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, we'll see you next Tuesday.
All right, later.
Later.